My and Mason's Auteur project is on the world-renowned director Ridley Scott, known for the many different movies he's created on a variety of different subjects, but most importantly known for his artistic style and the world-building of the movies he has directed. But how did he get to the place he is today? What drove him to create movies? Ridley Scott was born November 30th, 1937, in South Shields, England. His father was a British Army officer, and just 2 years after he was born, his father got deployed overseas in World War II. Because of the war, Ridley rarely saw his father. Only after the war ended in 1945, when he was around 8 years old, did he get to know his father. He mentioned in interviews that his father's absence had a lasting emotional effect on him. This early experience created a sense of disconnection and emotional restraint, something you see reflected in the strained, often cold or hierarchical father figures in his films, like in Gladiator with Marcus Aurelius and Commodus. While Ridley's father was at war in World War II, he moved around a lot, and this exposed him to multiple different cultures and locations, helping him shape his broad worldview. After the war, his family stopped moving around and decided to settle down in Teesside, a metropolitan area in northeastern England, known for its industrial character. This location, with its steelworks and industrial settings, later inspired visuals in his film Blade Runner. In school, Ridley wasn't very good at his academics like math, history, and science. He once said, "I was bottom of my secondary school class for 5 years. I was 29 out of 29 in my class and could never really work it out." A fact that underscores how formal education didn't suit his learning style. Instead, in school, Ridley Scott excelled in art, which shows that he was more of a kinesthetic/visual learner rather than an auditory/reading and writing learner. His experience in art helped him very much in his career, especially with the storyboards he made that showed producers a visual representation of what the movie will look like, allowing him to even sometimes double his budget. For example, in the interview when he breaks down his most iconic films, when he is talking about his movie Alien, he says this.
My art background, I was a kind of comic strip aficionado. I can draw comic strips really well. And so I read the script and knew exactly what to do because it read to me like a comic, a dark comic. And so before I went, I drew some storyboards of the first 20 minutes of the movie. And I went out there to Hollywood, first time in Hollywood, really as a person who potentially direct a movie. The budget would be 4.2. I had no idea what it was, 4 times what the jewelers cost. I took the boards out and showed them the boards. The budget went from 4.2 to 8.4. So the value of a vision is everything.
These storyboards not only helped his budget, but it also helped him make his films because they gave him a clear guide on what to do and how scenes are supposed to look. Going back to his education, Ridley Scott attended 2 colleges, West Hartlepool College of Art, then Royal College of Art in London. At the Royal College of Art in London, he helped start the film department, in which he made his first film, Boy and Bicycle, starring his brother, Tony Scott. After he graduated from Royal College of Art in London, he was hired as a set designer for BBC. He worked on shows like Doctor Who and Z-Cars. Essentially what he did there was build sets out of the scripts that were given to him. This role was hugely influential for Ridley as it gave him hands-on experience in visual storytelling as well as experience working with cameras and lighting. In addition, it honed his eye for detail, atmosphere, and world building. This is where his career really started. Shortly after leaving BBC, he got into producing visually rich commercials at his company he co-founded in 1968 called Ridley Scott Associates. Most famously, he directed Apple's 1984 Super Bowl ad, which is considered one of the greatest commercials ever made.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. We have created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests, obeying contradictory laws. Our unification of laws is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
This ad truly encapsulates a lot of what Ridley has mastered in his films, especially his world building. The use of shadows to give an eerie sense to the film, the set design that really told the viewers a story. He made a whole new immersive world for this ad, and that's why it's considered one of the greatest commercials ever made. He made around 2,000 commercials according to an interview done by BAFTA.
Oh, I must have done 2,000 commercials.
These commercials honed his skills almost to perfection, and at around age 38, he got producers to back his first film, The Duelists. The movies we watched were the films Alien, Gladiator, and Kingdom of Heaven. Now that I've done Ridley's history, I'm going to move on to the movies we watched and doing some analysis of some of the clips. First, I'm going to go over Alien.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. That's a kid. That's a kid. Come on, baby. That's a kid. Come on.
Near the beginning of the clip, I highlight the top right corner of a shot to show you that the alien isn't there currently, but later on, the alien does end up showing up there. The reason why this shot is in there is because it tells us, the viewer, that the character here looks there, doesn't see an alien, and puts his guard down because of it. And because he puts his guard down, us, the viewers, feel more on edge, because we're like, I've seen this before. A guy goes into a room all by himself and gets attacked. And that's what ends up happening, but it builds tension because he's looking straight up, and the clip actually cuts to the alien directly above him, but his eyes are closed, so us, the viewers, are like, what are you doing? You need to get out of there, which builds more tension and makes us, the viewers, feel more invested into the film and even scared. Now I'm going to move on to Gladiator and a clip in the movie where Ridley Scott has to direct around 1,000 extras. This clip is really interesting because what Ridley Scott did to record it was he set up around 8 cameras in various locations to record the whole battle scene at once, rather than recording each area individually and taking up a bunch of time on it. Instead of having to spend like multiple days on the entire battle scene here, he did it in around one. Also, something important to note here is Ridley's use of fog and smoke. In these historical films that he makes, he follows a pattern of using quite a bit of fog to obscure the background rather than blurring it so that you would focus on one specific target. He would use smoke or fog to obscure that, and it would make it so that the background is adding to the chaos of the battle itself. Another major part of this clip here is the music that he used. It is very epic, and it really ties it all together and makes the battle feel very, very cool and exciting. These clips really show how Ridley is a master of what he does and how his own artistic style really contributes to the film itself, and how he uses fog and world building from his time at BBC and large landscape views as well as claustrophobic scenes to make his movies extremely immersive and good.